In Robert F. Kennedy Stadium in Washington, D.C., the twain that shall never meet did meet to face each other in the NFL's 12th week of the season. The Washington Redskins have taken the high road, their now customary position atop the NFC East Division, while the New York Giants have taken the low road and with just 2 wins thus far find themselves in the division cellar. The Giants' lowly position has been one of the surprises of the season. After a winning year in 1972 and a perfect preseason, the Giants were expected to be contenders with this game today, possibly the one that would have settled the division championship, but that has not come about. Randy Johnson now quarterbacks the Giants offense, and though he could not scratch up a win for the New Yorkers last week, he did pass for 270 yards as the Giant offense got healthy. The same cannot be said for the Redskins. Up until last week, their running game was last in the conference, but a 200-yard day against the Lions should be just what the doctor ordered. Dr. George Allen, who has a record of 8-0 against the Giants, has seen his band of merry men winning with defense. The Redskin defenders have yielded less than 11 points per game. Their 23 interceptions are tops in the NFC, and their 48 sacks of quarterbacks leads the entire NFL. Though the game has lost some of its meaning due to the Giants' unexpected crash, it is still a big one. The Redskins need a victory to stay in first place in the division, while the Giants would like nothing better than to lick their longtime and often bitter rivals in the NFL Game of the Week, the Washington Redskins versus the New York Giants. George Allen was fully aware that the Giants had yielded over 250 yards on the ground the previous week, but after running twice, he crossed up the Giants by having Billy Kilmer start throwing the ball more than running it. After a pretty 19-yard strike to Roy Jefferson brought the Redskins into Giant territory, Kilmer went for it all. But this time, Jefferson was well covered by Pete Athas, who almost came up with an interception. With wide receivers Jefferson and Charlie Taylor being hawked closely, Kilmer then switched to running back Larry Brown, who made a fine catch and carried for 29 yards to the Giant 8-yard line. On a repeat, we can see that Brown was isolated on linebacker Pat Hughes, and he was no match for Brown's speed. But on a critical 3rd down, though Brown was open again, this time for 6, Kilmer overthrew him. Redskins settled for a field goal and led 3-0. Randy Johnson then led the Giants back on a beautifully executed drive that contained 18 plays and used up 8.5 minutes. On the drive, Johnson faced 4 third downs and a 2nd and 23 and made the first in every situation. Johnson's first test was a 3rd and 8, and a swing to number 23, Johnny Rowland, sneaking out of the backfield, brought the first down. After a penalty brought up 1st and 15, Johnson switched to Ron Johnson on the ground to get the first down. On a repeat of Johnson's run, watch number 62, guard Dick Enderle, as he gets a good block on middle linebacker Myron Patios, opening up the middle for Johnson to pop through. Now, near midfield, Johnson, the quarterback, hit Johnson, the running back, for 29 yards to the Redskin 27-yard line. Again, repeating the play, watch the Giants' other guard, Mark Ellison, number 65. Ellison gets a good block on Dave Robinson, and Johnson does the rest himself. But then the Redskins nearly put an end to the Giant drive. Johnson could find no one open, and after Vernon Biggs put the heat on, Johnson tried to safely unload the ball. The play cost the Giants 15 yards, for not only was second-year man Ellison an ineligible receiver on the play, but he had also gone too far downfield. The 15-yard penalty put Johnson in his 2nd and 23 situation, but he and the Giant offense were equal to the task. After Rowland ran for 10, Johnson still needed 13 more, and his third down pass to Don Herman got exactly that. Johnson next faced a 3rd and 4, and a pass to Ron Johnson was the Giants' third down conversion of the drive. The Giants now had a 1st and goal from the 5, and Ron Johnson nearly got the touchdown. But Johnson's good effort went for naught, as another penalty moved the Giants back once more. After a run gained 1 yard, a fake screen left, and a literally one-handed catch by Rowland brought the Giants yet another 3rd down. On their 4th 3rd down of the drive, this time 3rd and goal from the 3, Ron Johnson got the go-ahead score. Hard work is often its own reward, but on the next kickoff following the score, the Giants got another reward when Speedy Duncan and Herb Mulkey kicked the ball back to New York. The Giants now had possession on the Redskin 28, and the New York offense, inspired by the break, made it pay off. On 1st down, Ellison successfully trap-blocked Dyron Talbert, number 72, to spring Johnson for 13 yards. Then early in the 2nd quarter, Johnson rolled away from Redskin pressure and on the run threw a strike to Bob Tucker in the end zone. In less than 2 minutes, the Giants had struck twice and led 14-3. The Giants were at last playing like most people thought they should have been playing all season. And the good play carried to the special teams as Chuck Christ, who had played basketball, not football for Penn State, came flying through with a perfect tackle on Mulkey. Mulkey was down inside the 20. A perfect job by the bomb squad. And 2 plays later, a perfect play by Jim Files, cutting in front of the receiver, got the Giants the ball once more. Files carried to the Washington 23, and from there Johnson confused the Redskin rush and hit a wide-open Ron Johnson for the score. A repeat reveals the reason for the Redskins' confusion. On the play, Johnson made a good fake to Ron Johnson, then faked an end around to Don Herman. The good faking got Johnson the time he needed to locate his receiver, and the Giants held a shocking 21-3 lead. Having given up 3 touchdowns in less than 5 minutes, some teams might well have folded, but not the Redskins. After the Giants' 3rd score, Mulkey nearly brought Washington right back. Though the Redskins were not able to use the field position, the Giants knew they were up against a team not easily discouraged, and they too were now unable to move. After stringing out Johnson for no gain, they then stripped him of the ball and gained possession on the Giants' 17. The Skins are used to creating such breaks and took it all in stride, while the strides of Larry Brown took the ball goalward. Kilmer handed off to Brown on 5 straight carries, the 5th for the score. Brown, as so often happens, had to climb wearily to his feet, for his all-out effort style leaves him a physically spent man after every carry. But Brown had carried Washington 7 points closer and a 21-10 deficit. On their next possession, the Giants were again unable to move as Washington's defense began to snatch control of the game. After forcing a punt, Kilmer went for it all and found Charlie Taylor free behind everyone for a 53-yard advance to the Giants' 12-yard line. On a repeat, we can see that the play might well have been a touchdown, but Taylor, in stretching for the ball, lost his footing and was downed. It was a costly fall, for the Redskins could not get the touchdown. On a 2nd and 2 play, they were lucky to keep the ball at all. Then on 3rd down, Kilmer could find no one open and was goiched by Dan Goich. The Redskins settled for Kurt Knight's 18th field goal in his last 22 shots, and the lead was down to 8 at 21-13. But the Redskins weren't through. With less than 2 minutes to go in the half, they again forced New York to give up the ball. Taking over at midfield, Kilmer again moved the Skins into field goal range. Though they did not score, Knight's field goal attempt enabled the Redskins to get in the last shot when Paul Lavig leveled Spider Lockhart, who attempted to return the missed field goal. This kind of effort enabled Washington to creep close in a game they were almost blown out of. Beginning the second half, Washington Redskin fans had returned from the doldrums, where they had slumped listlessly as their burgundy and gold heroes dropped 18 points behind the fired-up New York Giants. But with the score narrowed to 21-13 at the half, RFK Stadium was rocking, anticipating an inspired comeback. And beginning third quarter action, Billy Kilmer had the Redskins moving with passes to Charlie Taylor and Jerry Smith. But with 1st and 10 at their own 44, a broken play left Kilmer with the football, and trying to advance it, he twisted an already gimpy ankle, and one play later he hobbled from the game. Sonny Jurgensen, himself nursing a wobbly left knee, limped on as Kilmer limped off, and the Redskins' offense suddenly went lame. Jurgensen, who had practiced only sparingly in the past month, showed the signs of inaction when his first pass fluttered and fell shy of both Larry Brown and the Giants' middle linebacker, Jim Files, number 58. The drive which Kilmer had begun ended poignantly as the gritty gravel gut number 17 was led helplessly off to the dressing room. On Washington's next possession, Jurgensen tried to show the Giants that while his left knee might be hurting, his right arm was sound. And he lifted a bomb intended for Roy Jefferson along the sideline. But this too was underthrown and nearly intercepted by Pete Athos. While the Washington offense struggled inoffensively, the Redskin defense heaved mightily to thwart the Giants' eager attack. But the Giants, playing for blind vengeance after a season lost in frustrations, show that they were not satisfied with simply winning the first half. But the Redskins' fabled over-the-hill gang hung tough, refusing to allow New York to cross midfield. And as Sonny Jurgensen's passes began to take on some of their old familiar zip, most of the third quarter slipped away in an emotionally charged defensive battle. With Carter Campbell, Larry Jacobson, Rich Glover, and Jack Gregory controlling the line of scrimmage for New York, neither Larry Brown nor Sonny Jurgensen could dent the Giants' resolute defenses, and the Giants had the best of the battle for superior field position. Still, New York could not capitalize, but late in the period, when the Redskins' Speedy Duncan mishandled a Tom Blanchard punt, the Giants had a break at the Washington 37-yard line. Randy Johnson then dumped a short pass to Ron Johnson over the middle, and the Giants' great back rambled for a 13-yard gain. Beginning the last quarter, the Giants' offensive ground down as Ron Johnson reached the Washington 15, and with 4th and 1, New York elected to settle for a Pete Gogolak field goal. Gogolak's try from the 22-yard line split the uprights, and New York had increased its lead to 24-13 with 12 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in the game. Then the Redskins, with Sonny Jurgensen regaining his form, began attacking the corners of the Giants' defense. Working first to Charlie Taylor and then to Jerry Smith, the Redskins reached the Giants' 46-yard line. Continuing the same pattern, Jurgensen found Roy Jefferson in front of Pete Athas for 15 more yards. Then, pirouetting on his lame left knee, Jurgensen set up a beautiful screen to Larry Brown, and the greatest back in the long and hallowed history of the Washington Redskins charged for 20 yards to the New York 9-yard line. A replay shows why the screen and the sweep are quarterback's two most devastating weapons when attacking the defensive corners. A slicing block from John Wilbur sprung Larry Brown past the Giants' right linebacker, Pat Hughes, number 56. Then Brown's bold strides brought him to a head-on meeting with the Giants' cornerback, number 45, Pete Athas. Having collapsed Athas, Brown bulled through one more attempted tackle until his assault was brought violently to rest inside the New York 10-yard line. 2 plays later, Jurgensen once again called on his light tank, the indomitable Larry Brown, and Brown crashed in with a tremendous effort. Runs like these will undoubtedly abbreviate Larry Brown's career, but for anyone who has ever thrilled to number 43's abandon and bravery, there can be no doubt that his spot in the Hall of Fame is already won. A repeat of the play shows that the Redskins center, number 56, Len Hawes, made the key block, and that Larry Brown paid the price at the goal line, making the score Redskins 20, New York 24. Inspired by the efforts of the great old quarterback Sonny Jurgensen and their heroic ball carrier Larry Brown, the Redskins defense rose up and paralyzed the Giants offense. With the coming of George Allen to Washington, RFK Stadium fans have come to expect and appreciate great defense. But now, with 6:43 remaining, as the rare, aged Burgundy gang returned the ball to Jurgensen and the offense, these sophisticated fans were berserk. Still working on the corners, Jurgie brought Roy Jefferson in on a slant in front of Pete Athas, and despite a stunning shot from Spider Lockhart, Jefferson held on to get the Redskins rolling again. But the obviously inspired Redskins then committed a crucial error when their rookie right tackle George Stark was called for holding. The Washington drive was threatened as Jurgensen faced 2nd down and 22 at his own 45-yard line. But Jurgensen coolly stepped back and found Charlie Haraway circling in front of Giant linebacker John Douglas, number 51. Haraway's gain was good for 21 yards, and a repeat of the play shows that the Giants had fallen off in a prevent, leaving number 31 wide open underneath. Larry Brown picked up the 1st down on the next play, and with 1st and 10 at the New York 33, Jurgensen dropped back for the 9th time in the period and connected on his 9th consecutive aerial, finding Roy Jefferson in front of Pete Athas for a 15-yard gain. Still working on Athas and the Giants' left corner, Jurgensen once again went to the screen, but this time, a fine play by Jim Files halted Charlie Haraway after a 2-yard gain. With 10 straight completions and 10 throws, Jurgensen then called the play that has so often left Redskin opponents second best on the scoreboard. Sending Larry Brown into the linebacker seam of the Giants zone, Jurgensen hit him with a perfect pass, and despite a ton of a hit by Spider Lockhart, Brown held on to boost Washington into the lead. A repeat of the play shows just exactly what price Larry Brown paid to break that invisible pane of glass and put the Redskins on top 27-24. As if he were bone china or some breakable, irreplaceable item, Charlie Haraway swooped in to gather his comrade off the goal line, and woozy and rubber-legged Larry Brown received the affection of his teammates. Randy Johnson then attempted to rally his team, but this play left them with 4th and 5 at their own 36, and with 2:41 remaining, the Giants elected not to gamble and punted the ball away. Sonny Jurgensen chose to ice the heroic comeback, which he had so masterfully engineered, by giving the ball to who else? Larry Brown. The Redskins and George Allen could thank the unsinkable Sonny Jurgensen for this comeback victory, preserving their one-game advantage over the rival Dallas Cowboys. But facing the prospect of meeting those same Cowboys in a week's time, even as George Allen congratulated Alex Webster, he must have wondered at what emotional cost his Redskins had won this 27-24 comeback victory.